looking for commercial construction, we have the expert right here, everybody. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone. Jack Moore is in the building from Chicago. Come down to see us, hang out with us here in St. Louis. We appreciate you coming here to be on the show and talk a little bit about this commercial side of the world. There's a lot of people don't realize how, everybody's like, I live in my house. I got a neighborhood. There's lots of roofs, lots of houses. There's a lot of construction out there for commercial. Those big buildings, those residential duplexes, apartments, they need roofs. They need construction also.
Yes.
And so you're the specialist for advocate for that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, that's why we wanted to have you talk a little bit about that, because as an area that needs attention, we like to highlight the people that can talk about that so we can all learn a little bit. Appreciate you coming in here. As a leader in commercial and multifamily sales divisions, what type of properties do you generally, I mean, I gave kind of a spectrum there.
Sure.
Tell me, nail down for me the specifics about what it is you guys focus on to help our little planet.
Yeah, so the easiest way to think about it is to think of any building that has asphalt shingles or siding that is not a single-family residence. So apartment complexes, townhomes, HOAs, religious facilities, medical facilities, churches, one of my favorites, golf clubhouses. So anything that has shingles and siding that is not a single-family residence would fall under the multifamily commercial division. Yeah,
every building out there on this little planet still needs a roof. So if you don't have a roof, everybody need a nice roof over your head, right? So that's what you're helping for. And you guys do the residential side over, that's a separate division. And we talk to them, check out those interviews, everybody, that are on ABC. But it is also the commercial side. And there's how much, I guess it's a matter of how do you keep that in perspective for people? How much commercial work is there to do out there on our little, in the United States, I guess, as a primary focus?
It's its own animal. There are many contractors that only do commercial work. There are many contractors who only do residential. So we like to do a little bit of both. We do specialize in asphalt shingles when it comes to roofing, though. So steep slope shingles, not the flat roof factories, warehouses that you're going to see. So that's something that we specialize in. It's because of our residential background. It's because we've done so many residential homes. We really are the experts when it comes to asphalt shingle roofs.
Okay, yeah, and there's so many businesses have those as well. And
Tons.
If it's what they call, is that a TPO or some other type of?
Yeah, TPO, EBDM, yeah, there's tons of different flat roofing options, and it is something that we can help out with here and there, but it is not our specialty by any means.
Yeah, well, it's important because the asphalt is, I think, by far the most popular. I mean, most common for any kind of commercial building as well, and so then when you have that, you need the experts to do that. That's why we wanted you to have you come in here to talk about that. What types of projects can you help with specifically with these properties when you're getting into it? Is there, I mean, as you talk about, I'm thinking about the difference in between a roof on a house versus a roof on a big building. I'm thinking, like, for instance, I'm just off the top of my head, St. Louis University. Yeah. Right? Big buildings, Surdrup, or not, that's at Webster, and that's another one. I went to college and in grad school, but those buildings are really big with regard to they don't have any flat roofs anywhere. Yeah. They have the traditional, but they are very caveat. They've got the cuticles that come up and the different windows inside the roof. Sure. These are the things that need to be considered when you have when you're getting these replaced, and you need to have these replaced from time to time, no matter what. And then when storms come through, all the more, I guess. Absolutely. So we can help with anything that is roofing, siding, and gutters related. Okay. In some of our markets, we're also going to be able to help with windows and doors, painting, and solar in select markets. Not all of our markets. All of our markets we can help with roofing, siding, and gutters, though. Okay. And I guess that's true. That's kind of a system that works together for people, right? Sure. When you have a roofing issue, it's not just the roof. The roof goes, the water trickles down into the gutters. If the gutters are old and not functioning well, then they're not going to work as well with a new roof. And it's also kind of one of those things where you say, if you're going to get that done, you might as well do the whole thing, because you're going to have to do it yourself again later. Get it done all at one point. And a lot of times the gutters are failing. Is that the issue, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we do like to refer to it as a roofing system because they do work together, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you always have to replace your gutters when you're replacing your roof, but it is something that should be explored. They tie in together. Sometimes they need to be replaced at the same time just because it's going to damage one or the other to remove and replace it. So there are instances where they must be replaced at the same time. Other times you can get away with, hey, right now we just need to replace some gutters. Right now we just need to replace some downspouts. We don't need to do everything. Or, hey, we're going to do this area of the roof, but we don't need to do the whole roof. So that's why you really need to look at each individual property and come up with the best plan for it.
And how do you address those types of issues? Because I can imagine there's now drones, aerial photos taken by Google Maps. All of these things now work together, but it's most important, I guess, very often you like to get up on the roof. Is that it's still the way you do it?
It's actually a combination. Yeah, you're going to see
all of the above.
Yeah, I am a FAA drone pilot.
Wow.
Yeah, so I am a certified drone pilot. We have a few in our company. I do a massive amount of my inspections via drone now, which is really helpful. It's safer, it's faster. There's less chance that you can actually cause damage while you're inspecting because you're not getting up there. It is nice to be able to go to a property of 28 apartment buildings and be able to do it in a matter of 2 hours, whereas that might have taken me 4 days in the past to get up on each one of those roofs individually. There's also industry products that we can order. EagleView is one that we use a lot, but there are other companies where you order the blueprints, which are going to give you all the angles, the steepness, the square footage, everything that you need to make sure that you're pricing out the materials properly.
Well, as a matter of getting into this, as a matter of just like the technology that does affect this, I didn't realize, and I talked to some friends about this to delve into that a little bit further, because there are many times technology impacts industries in a dramatic fashion.
Oh, yeah.
But these drones now have come in to be, and you have to be FAA, like literally Federal Aviation Association certified, right, to make sure, as my technology interrupts, right, but because there's risks you have when you're flying these things. If you cause problems, you interfere with an airplane going above, you better have somebody who is certified to do this.
Yes, it is interesting. It's something that I learned when I first looked into becoming a drone pilot is if you're just flying for recreational purposes, you just want to take some pictures, just having some fun, as long as you're not near an airport, you can pretty much do that on your own as long as you don't go to a certain height. But the moment you're doing it for any commercial purpose, so you're videoing a wedding or doing an inspection, I've actually been brought in to look at buildings for companies that do tuck pointing, and they needed me to get to a certain height and them to be able to see the images real close and zoomed in. So anytime you're using it for a commercial purpose, you have to be licensed and you have to be insured in case something happens.
Well, those are the again, when we talk about the professionals doing things the right way, make sure you address these kinds of issues. And it is something to take wholeheartedly. I wanted to dig in on that, and I didn't realize you were FAA certified.
Yes.
Literally, like, I've talked to friends who do this, and they say you're almost certified to be a pilot at the point. A lot of the questions are very similar to those people who are actually airplane pilots, and I don't know if commercial airlines it's another level, I guess, but there's just a lot that goes into this.
No, you got it right. It was a lot to learn. It is far more than just some drone stuff that you're going to learn there. I learned about weather patterns and runways and so many things. You go to a specialized testing facility. This is not something that you just do online real easily yourself. This is something you have to study for, and you have to go in and you have to pass it at a certified location to get that license. But I have really found it enjoyable.
Well, yes, that's an expertise that brings it to another level. So commercial, everybody, you do not want to get in trouble for somebody says, oh yeah, I'll bring my brother-in-law, he's got his license, he causes problems. Who then is on the hook for any problems that may have come about because they did not bother to make sure that they had this thing certified and fixed the right way, because boy, you could cause a lot more problems for yourself, and that is not where you want to be if you're going to be doing, because your business is at stake then. You're literally taking your business at heart to say, put my business on the line for this roof to get fixed by some roofing company that didn't have the right certifications?
Not worth it.
Not worth it for sure. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the markets and how many locations Advocate Construction has. I mean, we talked a little bit about that. Based out of Chicago, where you guys are headquartered, and obviously we talked to the local office you have here.
Yes.
Lindsay and Anthony, and then you have a big center here for a lot of the constructions managed here out of St. Louis, Union, Missouri area with Jed that was just on. Tell me then, you guys obviously have your hands in a lot of places because you've grown and proven that you have a good quality product that people need. Tell me about those markets.
So you got it right. We started in Chicago, and St. Louis quickly came after that. So it was our second market. Since then, and sorry, I'm not going to get this in the exact right order that we added them, we now have offices in Detroit, Indianapolis, Nashville, Rockford, Milwaukee, Kansas City, Denver, Dallas, Austin, and Houston. So we're growing pretty well.
Well, that's if you've got a system now.
Yes.
Everybody, if everybody wants to know, Cardinal Cowboy is trying to follow that footprint, man. Can I get some counseling from you guys? How do you expand? Because we're trying to, but once you've proven your product,
yes,
you can then take that to multiple cities and say, hey, we're doing it well here. There's other places that need this service to be done right, and take it to those places.
We have the blueprint, so it's just a matter of developing the right people who are ready to go open a new market, doing a little bit of market research, but for the most part, we have it down to a science, and I expect us to have many more offices in the coming years.
Okay, the growth is good as long as you're making sure you keep that quality product high, and that's where you can see the reviews for Advocate, A+ on the BBB, all of those things that obviously prove the success of companies. And that's what we're trying to emphasize. That's why I put the hat on, because, and I bring this up for a moment just to say also, we love our Chicago. Now, can I make one of my...
Here it comes. I know it's coming.
We love our friends from Chicago. Now, the White Sox, we don't play them as often.
Not
but
very much.
My Cubby buddies, I love my Cubby buddies. Literally, some of the most fun I have is going up there to Wrigley Field. And it's just a quick 4-hour get on the train and then just relax while you're and go up there and watch Cubs Cardinals.
Well, we're okay because I'm a Sox fan, so we're not going to bump on that. Like you said, we only play every so often. But I will say, even as a Sox fan, you as a Cardinals fan, if you can't have fun going to a baseball game at Wrigley, then you're probably just not really fun.
And I've been to both stadiums up there. Tony La Russa, Jack Flaherty was playing for the Cardinals and ended up playing for the White Sox. So as long as you love sports, that's my big thing. Plus, I'll make my little fun with the Cubs. We wouldn't have all these rings without the Cubs
Clinking together.
Right there. But the Cubs, they've won up. They've won the most recent World Series between the two teams.
Yes, that's true.
But the bottom line is, love this rivalry because you develop so many good relationships with people that you would not have gotten to know otherwise. He's wearing a Cubs outfit. We can probably talk about something in common here.
And you know what ends up happening is that carries over into our business because we have our offices down here in St. Louis and in Chicago. So there's a lot of talking, but there's a lot of competition as well. You know, what branch is going to sell the most roofs? What branch is going to have the highest Google rating? What branch is going to bring in the most new contractors? So there is some friendly rivalries that can carry over into our business as well.
Well, competition makes the world go around. They talk about that. Monopolies are not allowed in our country. In theory, it's just sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. But often because that competition is so important, so that's cool, and we have fun. As a White Sox fan talking to a Cardinal fan with our beloved Cubs fan, I just have so much fun hanging out with the Cubs guys.
They're having fun this year, but you guys are going to give them a run. It feels like.
Yeah, they kind of wrote us off to start the season, and then I had a quick conversation with Mo privately. Just he happened to be walking by at spring training. It's a lot more intimate there. You can get to. But he walked past. He's familiar. We've talked a few times before, and I said this team isn't so bad. They thought we might be terrible. I said, well, they got a bunch of stacked lineups. Don't have any superstars. Kind of a method that's kind of pervaded throughout the league. And now the Cubs, not a bunch of superstars either.
No.
Like the Riz went off to the Yankees, and now where's he at? But literally, like a good quality team. Cubs are in first place right now. Cardinals are in second place.
Yes, they are.
White Sox, they've got some work to do, I guess.
Yeah, they're a little more fun this year than they were last year. Baby steps for them. How about that?
Baby steps.
Yeah.
All right. Keep that competitive. And that's what we talk about, the markets. I love the other markets you're in. Detroit, Indianapolis, Nashville, Rockford. Now, where's Rockford located?
So Rockford's in Illinois. It's
Illinois.
as you're heading out towards Iowa, you're going to run in Rockford.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And Milwaukee, we love our Brewers. I love my Royals. Hey, I'm a Broncos fan, but we also like the Colorado Rockies. That's the CRs, everybody. My real name is Carter Rethwish. So I thought it was neat when they had a hat that had my initials on it. I just finally said, hey, MLB, get a hat with the Cardinal Cowboys initials on it. CR, Colorado Rockies.
That's a fun stadium, too. I lived in Denver for 5 years. Been to many games at that stadium.
Is it? I've never been there. And they got the waterfall out in the outfield?
They got the waterfall. It's right there downtown. The ball flies because you're at elevation. So it's, you need to get there.
That's cool. Dallas and Austin, both down there, and Houston.
Yep.
Love our Astros, too.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
Got Texas covered pretty well.
Very cool. All right, any other services that our audience should be aware of that you guys provide? Because when it comes down to it, construction's a big field.
Yes.
Not like a baseball field, but it's a big field where you actually need, many times they're saying, hey, I've got this pole that's not,
Sure.
it's a support that holds up the roof. I mean, where does it go as far as what you guys will do with regard to construction?
Yeah, so one of the things that comes really handy on the commercial and multifamily side is our inspection reports. So that's a combination of me going there on site, but also the drones that we talked about, and putting that into a really easily and clean, digestible report. This allows property owners and property managers to look at it from a big field of vision and make the best decisions for that property. So that's one of the things that we do all the time on my end, and we offer those free of charge. So that's something that I think everyone should be taking advantage of. Beyond that, you're going to see us do a lot of repairs. You don't need a replacement every time there's something wrong with your roof. We're going to come in and repair. Maybe a downspout detaches. We need to come out there, reattach that for you. So something small like that. Beyond that, you're also going to get us to do customized property maintenance plans. So these are designed for us to come out there either yearly or every other year to do some preventative maintenance. This will extend the lifespan of your roofing system. Beyond that, we also do phased replacements. So you're going to see these large properties, they can't do all 15 of their roofs in 1 year. So we might need to come out there and do 3 roofs a year for the next 5 years. There's one particularly proud of in Kansas City right now, a homeowners association, 491 roofs over 7 years. We're going to be there. We're in year 1 right now, so we're going to be there for the next 6 years until every homeowner has a brand new roof in that association. The final thing is our free storm monitoring program.
Now, tell me about that. That's my next question here. How do you storm monitor? I mean, there's obviously a lot of storms that come through. I guess by now the technology is out there. You can track those things. You know where they've been in the past. And so you may have thought you didn't get hit, but you were. You thought you knew you got hit, but you thought it wasn't so bad, but it was worse than you realized. How important is this monitoring for
Yeah, so I think at this point everyone knows that we're seeing a rise in severe weather, right? And those severe storms can have large impacts on your property. And we think that you should have a process and a plan when something like that happens. You shouldn't wait for it to happen and then try and come up with a process and a plan. So we came up with a storm monitoring program as a way to be out ahead of it. So basically what we'll do is we'll take your property, we'll put it into our weather monitoring program. The moment that it gets impacted by severe weather, it notifies us, we call you and say, hey, last night, bad storm came through, we're going to come out there and we're going to come do one of those inspections. So then we can put together that inspection report that you and I just talked about. We go ahead and look at that, and then we determine, all right, based off of that storm, we might need to do a couple repairs. We might be looking at a replacement. Hey, it held up okay. Let's just save this report for future. Or, you know what, this one was pretty rough. I think we should be looking in file an insurance claim. And then depending on what route we take, that's when we hand it over to our construction team to get to work.
And that's why I say it's actually very valuable for the consumer, for the homeowner, to understand, when do I make a claim? When do I not make a claim? What specific things should be covered during each claim, depending on what it is. And then times when you shouldn't have made a claim, but you thought you should, and then it costs you because they mark that against you.
Yes, they do.
If you keep making claims, is that right?
Yeah, you don't want to be making claims every time a storm comes through. That's not how it works. It needs to be significant. It needs to be a certain speed wind or a certain size hail or a tornado close enough by. In some parts of the country, hurricanes will obviously affect you as well. So you can't just be calling it just because you got a thunderstorm. You need to make sure that it actually hit a threshold that insurance considers it damaging to the roof.
Take note on that one, everybody. That's why we got our big pencil here. Write that one down. Because, I mean, I don't happen to have a storm degree chaser device, something in my pocket to determine this kind of stuff. How do I know when, I mean, there are the weather guys come through and they literally will follow the storm throughout the community, and they're tracking it and they give the reports, but all that stuff is documented by now. But you guys are the experts that know how to read that and determine, well, now that also coincides with, here's the type of shingles you had, and here's the way, the angle that it hit the house. I mean, there's so much that goes into this. The average consumer, they better get an expert to come in and talk about that.
Yeah, if nothing else, you're going to get a weather report from a company that is accepted by insurance companies. So you don't just want your app or your friend who monitors the weather to tell you, hey, you got hit with this weather. You need to be able to show them that a verified service is showing that that weather hit your address on that date.
Very important to know that kind of information as well. I don't know about you all, but I have to do my full-time day job. So I don't have time to do all of those things. This is why my dad taught me years ago, Carter, one day, this is when I was young, maybe we're still working on it, right? You will specialize in something. And once you specialize, then that's what you bring to the world. That's what you offer. I do not specialize in roof, tornado, wind, breakage stuff.
There's a lot that goes into it, yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, lean on the experts for that stuff.
Lean on the people who've done this for a while. And Jack will make sure to help you with that. All right, well, to tell me, as a matter of this, as a process here, Advocate Construction, what would you really say sets you guys apart from the others out there? I mean, we're not naming other companies, but tell us what you do better than the rest. That you feel, I think we covered some of that right there.
Yeah,
tell me more about that. What do you think it is?
So I think the first thing, it starts with service. I think that's where you're always going to want to start. And if you take a look at our Google reviews at all of our markets, you're going to see 4.6 through 4.9 across the board, thousands and thousands of reviews, which in the construction industry, that's almost unheard of. So I think it starts really at the service level that we offer. Beyond that, you're going to want to check on the expertise, right? We've done over 30,000 projects at this point, should be over 37,000 by the time this year is out. So we do have the experience to back up that service, and those are going to be what shows us, sets us apart from other companies on that end. But then the execution, right? It goes beyond just a good customer service and being able to, from the first connection to picking out shingle or material colors, to build day schedule, all the way through to quality walks and project closeout and warranty documentation. We just do this at a level and to a scope that just no other company can really match. A couple other things that are a little bit different about us. On our commercial side, my community managers, real estate professionals, they really appreciate the continuing education course that we offer. And that's something I think we can touch on. But
was that you guys too? One of your locations there? There's so much that goes out there on the internet.
That is.
And I wanted to pull up because when you have multiple locations, very often you have multiple pages to represent that region. And I'm looking at this. It pulled up the reviews. Like you said, I said, let's dig in further because I already saw the BBB. But you've got 96% recommend, 440, 96 out of 100. That's, I'm going to put this up on the wall for everybody. Is that all right? Take a look here. And when you're talking about people that are doing it, we start digging in for the people that are doing well to make sure that these things are proven and tracked, and you know what's going on, because you want to work with the companies that are doing that. And so more strong evidence that you talk about that, because we started looking at all the reviews, and as you mentioned that, I'm like, there's more to be had out there. He was doing a good job covering for me there. Thank you with that, Jack. But I was pulling up information. I'm like, you guys have the reviews for Angie's List.
Yes.
I mean, they all say amazing things. So,
and each location, like each one will have that. You're going to see that across the board.
That's how you can really prove somebody. It isn't just, hey, we're over here, but we started over there, and don't pay attention to what's going on over here. We do it.
Yeah.
You guys have got it across the board, looking very well for what you want to do for all of that. And it makes it important for most people. So, obviously, that's something that sets you guys apart. Thousands of reviews, 37,000 by the end of the year. Is that projects that you've completed?
Yeah, so 30,000 going into this year. We should be done with another 7,000 this year. Well, you had Jed in here. He would be the one that would know that number probably real closely, as that gets tracked heavily in the construction department. But yeah, we should expect to be done with 37,000 by the time 2025 is out. One thing I didn't mention that we offer as well, on the residential side, we do have financing options for homeowners.
Okay.
So that's really nice. On the commercial side, for qualified commercial partners, we do offer payment plans. So there are instances that you don't have everything up front ready to pay for it, but you need the work done. So those allow you to get the work done when you need it, and then pay over time.
Very good, because a lot of people, they cannot just out of pocket pay for these types of things. You want to make sure that they can afford to do so. And we all can understand, somebody figured out a long time ago that if you allow people pay every month, starts with house payments, mortgages, and car payments, credit cards, makes it easier, because most people can't just walk in with a check for $30,000 and say, Get it done.
One day. Yeah.
Keep working hard. Maybe you can walk
Yeah.
in and do that, but that's not the way most families do it. So that's good to know that you guys do. Help people with the financing. How are you guys involved in the community? I mean, that's something I'm a big advocate of. If there's something there, I just said it, advocate of everybody. But you've got to be involved in the community. There's got to be a lot of things you do to help make this world a better place. And what were some of the things you say you guys really enjoy doing in the community?
Yeah, so that's always been a part of Advocate. It's showing up to work is important. Showing up for your community is another level of importance. We like to say it's as much a part of our culture as showing up for work is to be part of our community. And that can start from sponsorships or more hands-on volunteering. We also just do donations. I think one of the best examples of this is any Advocate employee can donate to a qualified nonprofit, and Advocate is going to match that donation dollar for dollar. So you're basically getting a buy one, get one, doubling the effect of your donation. Just by being an Advocate employee, donating, Advocate's going to go ahead and match that. So that's one way we do it. In the communities, you're going to see us at school events, sponsoring Little League teams, things like that, community fundraisers. It's just a fun and meaningful way to be a part of the community. But my personal favorite is when we get to do stuff hands-on. So we really like to show up and roll up our sleeves sometimes. We've done stuff with Habitat for Humanity. We've done cooking events with Ronald McDonald. I got one coming up in June for Feed the Starving Children. We pretty much have them constantly on our calendar, and it's fun because you get out there, you get to do something physical that's really good for the world, and sometimes they even let us use power tools, which the sales guys don't always get to do that. So that can be fun as well. But yeah, that's always just been part of who we are at Advocate.
Very important. A couple notes that I wanted to mention. So I shout out my mom. Everybody love the parents that you have, even if they're on the planet still or if they're in heaven. My dad's in heaven. And my mom was fortunate. She started a foundation. That's really cool. They match. She found a guy who done well, and he matches dollar for dollar how much they raised.
It's awesome.
The fact that you're doing that is really cool because that like literally doubles the amount of money that was becoming. And when somebody brings in $1,000 or $50, that to double that amount really makes it very much more advantageous to those that are trying to help.
It makes it easier to click that button or scan that QR code when you see, all right, well, this one's $20. I'm going to donate $20. Knowing in the back of your head, well, that's actually $40. Or hey, I'm gonna give $100 here. That's actually $200. It does just make it easier to do it because you know you're gonna have a bigger impact.
And another great tip from Mom, drama teacher, taught John Goodman, got the building named after her. Do these kinds of things. I mention those things not to brag, but to say you do hard work, you help people in the community, you can get the accolades you deserve for helping make the world a better place. It's an incentive. My mom even talked about she got a new one for 60 years, and she said, I don't want to do it. She said, but if it inspires some other teachers to maybe do that the same way. You guys are in the community helping people. She said, help the businesses, Carter. Help the businesses because they're the ones who help the charities. And you guys are a great example of that. Thank you, Mom, for that. As we finish up here, continuing education. We've got about 30 seconds left. How important is that? How do you guys help with that?
So this is something that we found out from our community managers at CAI, which is a huge HOA organization. And basically, real estate agents and anyone in that field, and a lot of fields, you have to get continuing education credits every few years to maintain your license. So we went ahead and created a course that is certified by CAMICB and the state of Illinois.
Stay tuned for more, everybody. You are watching the Your Little Castle show. Giddy up.